Hello, and welcome to In the Kitchen with Brett Thorne, a food service industry podcast by Nation's Restaurant News and Restaurant Hospitality. I'm your host, Senior Food and Beverage Editor Brett Thorne, back in my Brooklyn, New York apartment after having been traveling a lot in recent weeks. I think it's possible that I am going to be in the city for the remainder of the year, but that's only another 6 weeks, so we're hunkering down and making our predictions for next year. So if any of you have thoughts on food and beverage trends, either that you are seeing next year, or even that maybe you'd hope to see next year, drop me a line, let me know. You can reach me at brett.thorne@informa.com. Most recently, I was in the San Francisco Bay Area. I spent the weekend with friends in San Francisco itself, and before that I was in Napa at the Culinary Institute of America's Worlds of Flavor Conference. That's always a fun affair with a bunch of cooking demonstrations and such like, and a lot of food to taste from a bunch of sponsors. And a lot of chefs from all over the country. The theme this year was authenticity, flavor, and the future, which was kind of an interesting name for the theme, since really the crux of the program was that authenticity is a weird and nebulous term that maybe we shouldn't use that much, because is there really anything that isn't authentic? I mean, everything comes from someplace, and every chef's experience is varied and informs them about the dishes that they prepare. So as long as they are being true to themselves, as one of the speakers, Enrique Olvera, said, then it's authentic. Just because something doesn't come directly without any modification from the way something was prepared on a different part of the planet 2 generations ago doesn't mean it's not authentic, because cuisines are naturally evolving and organic things, and they change. And that's part of the beauty of eating and drinking and communing with people. You learn from each other, you learn from different cultures, and that enhances your repertoire, your inspiration, and makes the world a better and tastier place, in my opinion. There are some restaurants that try to focus more on traditional dishes than others, and my guest this week is Paramjeet Bombra of Gulaabo restaurant, which recently opened here in New York City, and it focuses specifically on the cuisine of the Indian state of Punjab in the northwest of the country. Punjab is traditionally a hunting culture, and some of that food and those customs are reflected in the cuisine at Gulaabo. And I hope you enjoy hearing from Paramjeet Bombra as much as I did, because here he is. So we might as well just get started talking about your restaurant, Gulaabo,
Yes.
in New York City. Actually, first, Param, tell me about you and your background.
Okay, cool. So I'm Chef Paramjeet. I have done my hotel management back in 2007, pass out from college
Uh-huh.
from Pune University.
From Pune University in India, right?
It's in India, in Maharashtra. And then I slowly gradually learning the culinary arts. I've been specialized in Punjabi cuisine, Kashmiri cuisine, and I know the entire country because since my dad was in army actually. So I used to travel with him on different states whenever he used to get posted. So culturally, if I see, I have seen different cuisines in my entire life. I've eaten different places because of my dad profession. Then later, I've been traveling since I've done my college. I used to do projects in different cities, different states with different people. So by 2015, I realized that I think I have done enough. So let me start doing competitions now. So then I went to a South Indian Federation of Culinary. I've been to an North Indian Federation of Culinary competitions, and I've got gold medal, two gold medals, one silver and one bronze medal for the buffet presentation, Kashmiri cuisine, Punjabi cuisine, and other stuffs. Then by 2018, I came to America. I got this opportunity. Chef Sujan Sarkar has sponsored me to join him as a sous chef to take care of this restaurant called Bar Bar at Manhattan. By post COVID and pre COVID, we had some challenges. And when I came in America, I had many challenges to face: new culture, new client, new variety of cuisine, new ingredients. But yes, I have learned many things in America. Then company thought, let's do a new restaurant. Since they saw me that I'm very much into a classical cuisine of India, then we had many concepts doing a different states altogether, or maybe entire Indian cuisine. But my owners end up with doing a Punjabi cuisine since I belong to that place. And then we thought, let's do a very classical cuisine since everybody is doing into modern Indian, modern cuisine of anything. Then my bosses Rajiv and Payal and Chef Sujan, we all sit down at once upon a time, and they told me, like, okay, let's do something very classical this time. Let's bring out the all street food, all highway foods, all family recipes of mine. Since my mom is a very good cook, my grandma was a good cook, and we have some family recipes from three generations. So I think I'm the only one who can claim all those recipes as a chef. Rest all my siblings are into some other field.
So you why did you decide to become a chef in the first place?
Okay, so when my dad was in army actually, so I always wanted to join army, but since my mom started telling me, no, you have to be a chef, because I'm a very good cook. I love cooking. I want to see my son should see him as a cooking. So then I thought, okay, let me get into a college. For a very first year, it was a very challenging thing for me to start cooking, and I was not into this thing. But I believe slowly, gradually, by second year, I got a passion of cooking. Was my very first training was into a butchery. Okay, and I started cutting meats, chickens, and everything. And then I thought, yeah, this is an interesting job. I believe I can do that. So that makes me into a chef. Yeah.
So let me make sure I understand you. Your father was in the army,
Army,
and you
Indian
said,
Army.
I would like to be in the army.
Yeah.
And then I'm sensing that your mother maybe thought being in the army might be dangerous and you'd be better
Yeah,
off.
yeah, that was the right thing actually.
Yes. So but you still get to handle weapons. They were
Yeah.
just knives.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yes, yes. Still, I'm a soldier, I believe.
yes, you are.
Yes.
And you're much less likely to get killed. You always defeat the animals that you are butchering. You
Yes,
win.
that's true. That's true.
And you're from Punjab, right?
Yes, I'm from Punjab. Yes, Amritsari.
And and so you started studying the cuisine of northern India and then southern
Yes,
India.
yes, that's
And
true.
there's so much variety in
Yes,
India.
yeah,
Uh, but now at Gulaabo, you have your family's traditional recipes, it sounds
yes,
like.
that's true.
So, what are some of the dishes that you really like at
Okay,
Gulaabo?
so one thing is Amritsari Kulcha. So it's a flat stuffed bread with green peas, potatoes, beetroots, and onions. So if you see, there are other restaurants also doing the same style of kulcha, but they're into a modern Indian. Maybe few people are making fluffy, few making a small. But what I have done is very special thing. So back in India, if you go the kulcha, the Indian food altogether, if you talk about the Punjabi cuisine, it's a wholesome meal for anything. For whatever you order, it doesn't come in a very small portion. So that's what I also wanted to do. Let's try something which is very classical, value for money, good food. So I made a kulcha which is like this big.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
huge.
yeah,
I
it's
had to take
huge.
a
It
picture
comes on
of
the
it.
table. Yeah, it
It's
comes on the table,
glorious.
and everybody enjoyed it. Everybody liked it. Then that is one of the thing. Then we have this family recipe called a goat curry. Okay, but in Punjabi we call grandmother as a bebe. Okay, so we used to call it, okay, bebe the chicken, bebe. the goat curry. So
Uh-huh.
I named that on my name. It's called now Param Singh the meat. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
Param is my name and Singh is my middle name. It's a slang in Punjabi. It says that okay, this meat is belongs to a particular chef or
I
particular
see.
man. So that's on my name. The goat curry is cooked along with brown onions, yogurt, and some home made spices, and it has a lot of cilantro in it, a drier form and the fresh form as well. So that is the second thing. Then we have a dessert called firni. It's also my grandmama's recipe. So firni, when my grandmama used to make a firni, then on a second generation, my mom started adding a small balls, a milk balls in it. That is called a chena. Okay, it is actually a cottage cheese ball soaked in a sugar syrup. So they mixed all together. Now that recipe I'm following in the restaurant with an ice cream on top.
So it's
That
little cottage cheese balls cooked in
yeah, it's
syrup.
a cottage cheese ball soaked in a sugar syrup, then cooked along with rice pudding, served with bundi and ice cream on top, a saffron malai ice cream.
That sounds great. In fact, I
Yeah,
probably had it when I ate in
yeah, you
Japan.
had it. I'm sure I gave you on the table, and I saw that you liked it very much.
Yes. Yeah, it was great. And so, is this the first restaurant where you are the executive chef?
So if you say as an executive chef, yes, this is the first day in America. Before that, I was a sous chef. Then I promoted as a chef de cuisine at Bar Bar. But before that, if you see back in India, my
Mhm.
last project was Taj Andaman Nicobar. I was a head chef in Turtle House Kitchen. It's a beach restaurant. And before that, I was an acting head chef at Wharf Kitchen at Radisson, Chennai Temple Bay. There, we got a Times Guide Award for 2 years, the best seafood restaurant in the town.
Great.
Yeah. I've done many cuisines. I've done the international cuisines as well. But since when back in India, when we were there in India, so nobody considered Indian cuisine as very lavish. So in West, people used to take all the Western cuisine and start talking about it, start making a new cuisine out of that. But when you travel towards the South, so now the Western culture, now they wanted a classical Indian cuisine. So it's a vice versa in between two states and two world.
I
So
see.
that's why I'm doing a classical now.
So in India, they like to bring in influences from all over the world,
Yes, that's true.
which and that's really what makes India India anyway, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's always had many people come in and they get sort of absorbed and stirred into the whole
yeah.
culture.
So if I talk about India, I'll tell you. So it's 24 states from the north to south to east to west. If you 28 states, they have a 28 different people living, 28 different culture, 28 different religion, 28 different kind of a gods. We have many gods, but if you can consider 28 different states with 28 different cuisines, and I
And I'm
have traveled each state and worked.
and I'm sure even within each state there is variety from say, I don't know, northern Kerala to southern Kerala or
Yes,
whatever.
that's right. That's right. Each 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 state has their different regions and different even the languages.
Right, yes.
Slangs are different always.
So
Yeah.
when you travel in India, how
Yeah.
do people from different states normally communicate? Do they speak Hindi or English or how
So
does it
the national language is always a Hindi, but India is the largest country who speaks English from every angle, from
right?
everywhere. Then we have a local languages like I speak four languages. So the most common tongue is always the English and Hindi. And since you live in India for a very long time, you understand sometime what other people are saying in different languages. So you can start communicating slowly. Yeah,
And
that's
so
all.
you speak English, Hindi, Punjabi, and what else?
And I speak Maharashtrian a little bit. I understand Gujarati. I understand Kannada and Tamil.
And
Yeah.
Kannada is what they speak in Karnataka, right?
Karnataka, yes, that's right. And Tamil is in Chennai. Chennai is a state in Tamil Nadu.
Right.
So Tamilian is from the Tamil Nadu.
Yes, in the deep south.
Yeah,
I
deep
went
south.
to a wedding in Bangalore.
Yeah, I live in Bangalore now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the groom was an Anglo-Icelandic Canadian,
Okay.
and the bride was a Tamil. She was an Iyer, a high
Yes, I know.
caste
I
Shaivite.
higher caste in Hinduism.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and I was there for breakfast, and obviously it was being served on all the banana leaves. And
Yes.
I asked the guy next to me, "What is this?" And he said, "I don't know. I'm from Calcutta." So, completely, it was
Yeah,
as new
so
to him as it
even
was
though
to
even
me.
though if people are from India, they get confused in different states. The one
Right.
who has not traveled enough, but like you and me or other people who have traveled enough, they understand everything, how the cuisine works. So I think that is the most interesting part in Indian cuisine. If you talk about, there are a lot many things to experiment and learn,
Oh,
and
so
that is the only thing which makes me always motivated toward the cuisine. So I never get bored on
that
this.
there's always something new.
Yeah,
And so how old is Gulabo now? It's not that old, right?
it's I believe now it's 3.5 months now.
Yeah, so pretty
Yeah,
new.
pretty new. Yes.
Have you learned very much about what your customers' tastes are during that time? Are there things
Yeah.
you had to adjust or figure out?
Yes, but since I was working with Baar Baar, I understood very well how New York City works.
Sure.
And when we started this, we always had this concept. Now we were taking a very big risk to bring out the very regional cuisine from India, to increase the portion size, um, from a very modern Indian restaurant to a very classical restaurant, where people go and see. It also hurts the APC of the restaurant at the same time. So we planned everything. For example, if two people are sitting and they end up with ordering only two dishes and they fill up their stomach, so the restaurant makes less money.
True.
So we had this idea to how to bring more bigger tables in a restaurant, where you want to serve. You have to give a training first of all, what kind of cuisine and what is the regional cuisine, what we are trying to serve, with a bigger and a larger portion. And at the same time, the restaurant should make a better money.
Right.
So that's how the entire menu engineering done with Chef Susan and me in between. So creating from a bread to a main course to a small appetizer, we thought let's create that way where people can start with the golden appetizer, which is into a smaller portion. Then they can stop by a breads, which is a little bit a larger portion, which comes along with the curry, and and they can jump on the kebabs. So by the time the guest jumps on the kebab, we already make about $40 to $50 APC in a restaurant. So that was the actual idea, to at least give them a three courses, and if they have tummy so there's leftover, they can jump on the main course and the desserts.
I see.
So I think by the third course we already make enough money for the restaurant.
I see. So you start with sort of smaller appetizers to
Yeah,
get
small
them
appetite.
interested and bread.
Yeah,
And then the
yeah,
presentation of the bread is so
yeah.
dramatic that they get excited
Dramatic, yeah.
about that. They take a
So
picture, they post it on social
yeah,
media.
and I
And
think that,
then
yeah,
they get the large portion main
and
course.
I think that interesting part of the giving them a bigger culture suddenly after the cold appetizer, that makes them more curious what is coming next. So let's try more, how it looks like. Let's take more pictures. So that is the entire idea behind this restaurant.
To sort of ease them in
Yeah, ease them in.
and then envelop them with wonderful aromatic Punjabi
Yes.
food.
Yeah, Punjabi food.
So as I understand it, Punjab is a hunting culture. So
Yes,
there's
we
a
do
lot of
have a hunting culture. Yes.
game meat and stuff. So how would you describe Punjabi
So back in
cuisine?
the days, if I talk about before 90s or in the year of 18s, all the all the farmers used to carry the weapons. Okay, and at that era, we been ruled by British. So the culture was developed that way. The people have started to learn hunting culture from the different community, and they started doing the same thing. So they used to go to the farm to protect the farms. They used to hunt quail, rabbits, and the other game meats. But since now only rabbits and quail is available, and we are not allowed to kill any animal, so that culture has almost vanished from the India.
Oh,
But that was there in that once upon a time, that era. That's why I bring out that hunting culture in our menu. So we serve our rabbit meat and a fried quail. That's
and
how.
those are things that you can still hunt in Punjab.
Yeah, we're still hunting in the Punjab.
And so what are those dishes like? How do you prepare them?
So there are many ways we can do that. Either if we hunt a quail, either we can make it into a curry form, a tandoor form, or like a barbecue. But since I have lot many barbecue meats in the restaurant already, so I decided to do a fried way. So the fried with the butter, the quill is also known as a butter in Punjabi. So the quill become very crispy. Once it is a very crispy, you serve some fried and pickled onion along with it, with some curry sauce. That makes you very. It's give you a crunchiness like a chicken,
Sure.
and the flavor. The meat become crisp because the skin become it comes along with the skin. So if you do a fry, the skin become crispy out of it, and it's way too tasty than a barbecue style. That's
Sure.
my version.
And then the rabbit?
And the rabbit we do it we cooked along with the onions and tomatoes. It's like a curry. It's like a semi-dry curry.
I see.
Yeah, and
Uh,
we only use the rabbit legs because it's more juicier, more tender.
so do you just buy the legs and
But
cook
we
it?
just buy the legs, yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And what are some of the more popular dishes?
So the most popular dishes are lamb seek kebab, which goes along with the what do you call pickled onions and curry sauce. We use a portion of a fat and meat together to make it more softer and juicier. Then we have quail, which is more popular. Then we have red snapper. We have shrimps, which I served you, U5 size, a three big size tandoori prawns. Then we have cooked pulao, which is a big size biryani, which I have not served you on the table because it's way too bigger in the size. So I don't want to fill you with only biryani.
Thank you.
Then we have dahi balla, samosas, pakoda platters. I think our whatever we picked up on the menu, it's everything has their own story. Each dish has their own story that makes customer attracts toward the dishes, and they end up with ordering so many things. Sometimes I have to pack for them, but it's okay. I mean, it's okay. They love the food. They enjoy it. They want to know about the stories behind the food, and that makes a menu very special.
So maybe you could tell me a couple of stories of a couple of
Okay,
the dishes.
okay. So dahi balla. So for example, dahi balla or any chaat in the menu that is more that got very popular uh, in India because of the woman who's expecting a baby, like a pregnant woman. So
Hmm.
during the pregnancy, the hormones are changed and they want to eat something very spicy, sour, tangy, sweet altogether. So this chart works very well in them and they give them that satisfaction. So from that the community of that expecting babies, the woman, that becomes so popular worldwide and across the street in India. So that is the one story for the any charts. Okay, then we have
And a
uh,
chaat is any kind of sort of snack, right?
yeah,
That you
it's
eat
kind
with
of a
your
snack.
hands.
It's usually served on the street. It is usually hot, like a samosa is also considered as a chaat. Samosas with three, four different types of chutney, including tadka chutney, mint chutney, or a tamarind chutney on top of it, with some so sweet yogurt, some chaat masala. So chaat means tangy. So that's how the word describes the entire dish.
Oh, I thought chaat meant to lick. It means tangy.
Yeah, I mean chas to lick, but that gives you a tanginess on your tongue. That's why
Uh-huh.
it's known as a chaat.
And so you want to keep eating it.
Yeah, you start keeping eating it. Yes, that's true.
And also great for drinking beer.
Yeah, I love that too. With samosa is my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. But I interrupted you. You were going to tell me another
Yeah.
story about a
So
different.
the next story is like a seekh kebab.
Hmm.
So so if you consider, so it's actually not from Punjab, if you say, but it was influenced by the other state called Lucknow. So
And
Lucknow,
Lucknow is near Punjab, right? It's
no,
small.
not near Punjab. It's actually on. You have to cross Delhi, then get into Uttar Pradesh. Then you have a small state called Lucknow.
Okay, so it's far
Yeah,
from Punjab.
yeah,
Never
far
mind.
from Punjab, but it is very popular for the royal families of Nawabs. So how that all kebab thing started happening. So Nawabs are very popular for throwing out the parties, attracting women, and all that. So when British came to India, so Nawabs are the only royal families who can entertain them, who can give them those parties to start doing their trades between the cities and state to the countries. So they called all of their employees, like all their chefs, to cut down the spice level from the food. So the British can start eating food in India. So all the women can enjoy the meats from India. So he told all the chefs to create such recipes, such meats, which is without the bone, which should not which can eaten by the fork and knife, and take out all the spices and add more flavors. So that's how the kebab started to build up and get so much popular between the English community and the Nawab during the Nawab families.
So a nabob is a type of Lucknowi nobility.
Yes, Lucknowi nobilities. Yes,
You know, it's
that's
funny because in English we use that term also. We call them nabobs, but
right.
I
Nawabs.
didn't
Yes.
realize that's where it came from. It is
Yeah.
nobility from Lucknow.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
true.
learned a new thing.
Yeah.
And so kebabs were developed as a way to feed non-Indians from the
Yeah.
West who don't
From
like
North
spicy
India,
food.
from the West. And they have taken, since they started to cook everything in the tandoor, and tandoor is a specialty of Punjab already. So we took all the recipes and started doing our own way of Punjabi kebabs, like chicken tikka, tandoori chicken, a lamb sikh kebab, or a mutton baloti or mutton boti kebab. So mutton boti is chunks of lamb meat, which is marinated with yogurt and tandoori marination, put in a skewers and start cooking in tandoor inside.
And a tandoor, our audience probably knows what a tandoor, but in
Yeah,
case they don't, it's a top-loading oven
oven.
made out of clay, right?
Yes,
And then it has to be seasoned with
with jaggery,
jaggery.
spinach, and everything. So once it is seasoned nicely,
Mhm.
so the walls become more stronger. So when you do a bread and that gets stick on the wall, and it's
Right.
easy to remove once the bread is cooked with the pluckers, and also the kebabs are cooked on the charcoal flavor, so it gives you more better taste.
And so you have to put the meat on a long skewer
Yes, long skewers.
or a sword if
Yeah,
you want,
yeah.
and cook it that way.
That is the best way to cook kebabs, I believe. So open barbecue and inside in the club, both are the different stories. So the open
And
barbecue is more, I believe, from other angle it become more drier. You need to keep adding butter, but inside in the clay oven, everything keeps intact inside. The juices are intact in the kebab itself.
it's a very hot oven, right? So it cooks fast.
Very hard oven. But depending on what kind of things are you cooking. For example, if you're doing a lamb or a meat kebab, the temperature has to low down. When you're doing a crispy kulcha, the temperature has to low down. When you want to cook a roti or a naan, the temperature is a little higher. So the chef who works on a tandoor, he knows what kind of temperature he wants for what kind of food.
And do you have multiple tandoors at Gulaabo?
So I have right now one tandoor and two charcoal grills for the kebabs, and
Hmm.
then we have a set of range and candy stove. Because since it's not many covers, it's like 170 covers. We do 3 sittings, and now we started doing lunch as well. So I believe one tandoor is enough for me. Maybe if we are doing wonders in coming days, I can add one more.
And how do you get a tandoor in New York? Do you have to make your own or is there a manufacturer?
Uh, so first of all, there is a law in New York City. We cannot use a charcoal oven.
Right.
So ovens are usually it's electric here. On the base, you have a gas, the way you have it on the range, and that makes the tandoor more heat, and it's easy to control. But back in India, the charcoal ones are like you need to add a charcoal and start burning the charcoal every day in
Right.
the morning. So and you need to keep adding what do you call the charcoals every time, every hour to make the temperature sustain. But I think the gas ovens are much more easier to control.
Yeah, that makes
That's how it
sense.
is. But yes, the question is, it is not available. It's actually available in according. It's available in Jersey City with some of the vendors, but it is as per the law and protocol of New York State.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
and
so
the one I got from London.
oh,
Yeah,
that makes sense. They probably have a lot of good tandoor manufacturers in London.
yes, that's right. Yeah,
There are so many Indians.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about how you ended up coming to the United States.
Okay, so I was working with Taj Hotels and Chef Susan's brother, who's actually taking care of the Rue restaurant in California, San Francisco. So he and I worked back in days around 2014. We were there at Shusha Live program. So we were as a trainee. We were training under one of the most popular Chef Saundarajan. He actually passed away last year. So we were getting trained under him, and that's how I and Sujan started to knowing each other. So when Sujan Chef and Pujan came to America and started doing Roo, So he recommended me to call Chef Param, so maybe he can help us to create more better recipes. So that's how I end up at Baar Baar at 2018.
I see. And Suljin is the chef at Baar
Yeah,
Baar.
Susan, he was a chef at Baar Baar.
Right.
And Poojan used to take care of Rue, San Francisco.
I see. And so through connections, you ended up in New
Yeah,
York. How do
yeah.
you like it?
New York is a very beautiful place. New York has given me a lot of opportunities to learn from a success, from a learning to aspects of making new concepts and restaurants. And I think the best part of working in New York City is New York will give you an opportunity to showcase yourself, to showcase your culture. And the best part is you have a lot of different people from different countries, and they all expect your food. They take it as a positive way, what you're serving, what's your family recipes, and they understand things. So I think in this city, this country, people are more educated on the culinary field. They can teach you if you don't know something. Like
That,
you know much better about the Indian cuisine. You know about the tandoor. You know about the kebabs. That's what, and that is the best part, which makes me motivated.
well, that's great. And Indian cuisine for years. I've been in my job for a long time, and everybody has been waiting for Indian cuisine to explode in the United States, just like
Yeah,
it's all over the United Kingdom, and
yeah,
it's not as widespread in the United States. But
yeah.
over the past couple of years, we've seen
It's
so many.
getting there. It's getting there, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, there
getting.
are so many great Indian restaurants that have opened just in New York and elsewhere in the country. There are
I
also,
think elsewhere in the country, we still need to do it more. But there are small restaurants. But the only thing is, when it comes to a quality food, when it comes to a cuisine and the concept, they're unable to reach that level. So I think at the same time, that also depends on the culture, what culture and where you put up your restaurant, and what kind of people, what kind of target audience you're doing it. So I think the client will makes you more better. I think they are the only one who review us. So that's how the restaurant become popular.
yeah, and you have to meet the expectations of your
Yes,
customers.
yes, that's
And
true.
if they have high expectations, you will
Yeah.
produce good food.
And
And if
now I think after opening a lot of restaurants in America, in New York City, and you have a lot of competition, I think now that is a time where people comes and sit at your table and they have a higher expectations.
yes, and
Yeah.
so that gives you the challenge of meeting those expectations.
Yes.
Like people often wonder why New York has such good pizza, and
Yeah.
they say and bagels, and they say things that don't make any sense, like it's the water.
Yeah.
So the water is not that different in New York than any place else,
Yes. That's true.
but New Yorkers expect delicious pizza and bagels, and
Yes.
you will go out of business if you do not have delicious pizza and bagels.
That's true.
Similarly, in Southern California, if you don't have delicious Mexican food,
Yeah.
then you
Then
can't
you're out
stay
of the
open.
business. Yeah.
But in New York, you can do better with mediocre Mexican food because we don't know it as well.
Yeah.
And so, and seafood tastes better in Boston than in New York, even though it's the same seafood.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit fresher in Boston because they demand it.
Yeah. The demand. Yeah. That's true. That's true. So I think it's as per the demand, people can work on their menus, and it changes. Give you that reference of your food and the cuisines.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, what are your plans for Gulaabo in the future? It's only been open 3.5 months, so
Yeah. So the very first plans is to get a Michelin star. Okay, at least we should be in a Michelin guide in coming months. Then we can apply for a one Michelin. At least we should work really hard to get one Michelin. And coming years, I think we should open more Gulabos, since we have now other restaurants in Chicago, LA, and California. I think these are the three states which picked up by the company. So to make more restaurants, and I think Gulabo will be there soon.
it will be a chain restaurant
It'll
of
be a chain
Gulaabo.
restaurant, yes.
Well, that's exciting, so
Yeah.
that we can have more delicious Punjabi food all
Yes,
across the
every
country.
all across the country. Yes, that is for sure.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Paramjeet Bombra, for
Thank you,
taking the
sir. Thank you
time.
very much for having me on the podcast. This is my very first podcast in my life,
Well,
and I'm very happy.
congratulations. Then I am happy too.